Hi everyone, Jeremy Reynolds here from Alpha Finance Solutions. I'm Jeremy Reynolds, the Alpha Money Coach. I'm going to talk to you today about something which can make your life a lot easier. And you should be looking for ways to make your life easier because things are often getting tougher. And what I'm going to talk to you about, in a general sense, is if you've been following my videos, and even if you haven't, talking about getting your home loan reviewed, getting a home loan and meeting with an Alpha Finance Solutions mortgage broker to be able to make sure that we can, number one, get you the home loan. So that's the first, we'll get you the loan. We'll get you a loan, but then also look at getting a loan that is at the best rate for your individual situation. Beyond that as well, that'll suit your needs for as long as possible. But then also look at avenues of how we can pay off your loan sooner within the structure of the loan, within the strategy behind the loan, and how you use the loan as well. The other topic I've been talking about in a lot of detail is how to get your home loan approved faster, because timing is really important, and lagging of time can really create a lot of pressure, particularly when there's other stakeholders involved, like buying a house and having real estate agents involved in the process and actually having to meet a settlement date. But there's other factors that can be stressful as well. One of them that I'll talk to you about is when you talk to me, when you talk with one of my highly skilled team, if we're looking at getting you a refinance, for instance, as opposed to a new loan, we want to save you money, but we also want to save you money as soon as possible, because otherwise it would be contradictory. And say, let's save you money, but we're going to take our time getting it done. Absolutely not. We want to get you the loan as soon as possible, so then you can get the benefit of that, which is reduced interest charges, potentially better savings, create more cash flow, just for a number of different things there. So if this process takes a long time, it can be identified that you're actually losing money. The longer you leave it between the moment that you start thinking about getting your home loan refinance and it's settling, that time you're still not getting the benefit until that loan settles. Or with other brokers, that the moment you speak to them and you try and get that appointment and it just seems to drag on and on and on, you lose interest, and the broker doesn't get to help you, or you lose interest in them, then you don't get your loan. But what I'm going to talk about now, most of what's done, a vast majority of what needs to be done for your loan is taken care of by your mortgage broker. They do all the hard work for you. That's why you're utilising the services of an Alpha Finance Solutions mortgage broker, because they're helping you so you can go about and do what you do best. They're the expert. They know how to do this. They know where to look. They know how to solve problems so you can go about your day-to-day life. At the same time, though, for the Alpha mortgage broker to do his job to the best possible capabilities, there's some really simple things that you can do during the process and before the process. So let's talk about that. So if give and a little bit of a thing there, if you do none of these things, we're still going to help. We're still going to help you get your loan. We're going to help you and do our best to help you solve your different financial problems that you have. But if you're hearing this today, when you get on the phone and you give myself or you give one of my team a call, there's some things that you can do to make this whole process go through so much quicker. Now, first of all, one of my team will ask you questions. One of the best things that you can do when one of our team asks you questions is to answer them as honestly and in as much detail as possible. And I will explain why. I know in the environment that we live in today, in the society that we live in, that we're all very cautious of what information we share with different people and talking to them, and we're also scared of judgment. A lot of people don't like talking about their money, how much they earn, where it's coming from. But even on a greater capacity, what debts they have, how much they owe, or any particular financial problems that you may be getting into. So the natural reaction from most people would be to actually try and sugarcoat your situation, okay, and say it's better than what it is if there was a problem. So in essence, if you have any particular problems that you face, number one, have you tried getting a loan elsewhere, and were you successful? So what the reason why? How did you get out of contact? Why us? If you have looked at other people. So if the reason was, well, we were rejected by our bank, fantastic. We would love to know that. So for one thing, we don't actually make history repeat itself. We'll look at the reasons why it didn't get approved by your bank, and then immediately be able to redirect the solution elsewhere and find out, first of all, why wouldn't it go there? Why wouldn't they accept it? And then second of all, what can we do different because we have a higher skill set and arrange to many different banks that have different rules. Whereas if you don't tell us these things, there can be some issues attached. We might look at, the time can lapse because there'll be a time for us to come to that conclusion ourselves without you telling us up front. The second issue may be is if it was declined by a bank, knowing, well, if it was declined by a bank, that may be listed on your credit report. So we will find out anyway. That may affect where you put the loan. For instance, with that loan, I'll give it, and this is so we can know as soon as possible, get this done fast. For instance, it might have been approved by a particular bank but declined by a particular lender's mortgage insurer because it was in the higher borrowing area above 80%. Many banks use the same mortgage insurers. So therefore, if it was based on their rules, so we'd still use the same facts, but we would look for banks that potentially have different policies or different mortgage insurer who would view your loan in a different way. So that can make things a lot faster. In other words, we can use what was done, a mistake that was made, or the loan where it was put elsewhere wasn't a good way. We're not going to try and do the same thing if we know these things early on. The second thing to do is, and this is a really interesting one, and I say it tongue-in-cheek because this happens every time. Mr. and Mrs. Client, whoever's listening today, whenever we ask how much you think your property's worth, most of the time you think it's worth more than it's actually worth. So it's very difficult for you to work this out. So you need to work with the brokers when we ask them more detailed questions about that house. So yes, through the process we'll get a valuation done. Always, it needs to get a home loan. You can't do it without the valuation. However, if you're saying that your house is worth $600,000, we look at the similar houses in your suburb are selling for $500,000. We'd like to know why it's different. The reason we want to do this because the value of your home does affect your LVR or your loan to value ratio. Meaning, if you're based on your estimate, if it's sitting at 80%, and we look at that and we identify that it's potentially you're overvaluing it, and not that we can give a valuation, but we can look at some comparables, is that we need to actually say, well, actually this might be sitting in a space above 80% and be subject to lender's mortgage insurance. So let's potentially talk about how much we need to borrow. For instance, in that situation, you might be wanting cash out to do some renovations. So let's potentially get a lower amount of cash out based on the lower value of the home, so you're not having to pay $5,000 to $7,000 in lender's mortgage insurance as well. Or saying, well, the finance has not been approved because the valuation came up short. So that's another issue. One of the other topics as well to be prepared as well is when you with your finance is get your finance documents in order. And you go, what does that mean? Okay, in preparation, spend a few minutes. And I know we're not all good at administration, and if you're in a couple, if you're in a marriage, in a partnership, there's often you need to assert and actually make an effort to attempt to actually get those things organised. If I had to give one reason for home loans taking a long time to get approved and the process taking a substantial amount of time, it would be that the client hasn't been forthcoming with their documents. So this is really crucial to know that no bank will accept an application without 100% of the documents to be provided. So if that's your pay slips, your council rates, and this is just with some basic documents to have a look at. It would be your everyday banking account, your loan statements, just to name a few. So when we're talking about this as well, that's another one that comes up to make this go faster, is no bank, no application will accept council rates. So you've got to provide your council rate documents that are unpaid or in arrears. It's viewed as a bad debt, so they will not accept an application whatsoever. So before you provide your council rates, and yes, the broker will check this, you need to actually check that you've actually paid them. You go, well, it's 25 cents over, it's still not acceptable, so pay it. No one will accept that. So make sure your council rates are paid up to the date, and then get them to reissue your documentation if it was unpaid or behind. Further to this as well, when I mention being forthcoming with information, tell us up front. Answer those questions. One of the key questions is when we're talking about what debts you have. What can really cause the process to lag is if we say, well, okay, do you have any credit cards or any debts? And you think, well, I don't want to appear silly, and therefore I'm going to conceal some of those and let them know I've got two, I've really got fourth, and that fourth one's one that's a problem. Well, we're still not going to be able to help you until we know all the facts. So we will find those through credit reports, but if we know up front, we can be more prepared immediately to help you sort this out. So make sure that if you're asked about your debts, if you're asked about your credit cards, tell us the truth. We will not judge you. We're there to help solve your problems. So the more we can know up front, even from those initial phone calls, the faster we can do to get things approved. Now, we do need to meet with you as well, and this is an interesting fact as well. People say, well, okay, delaying the first appointment. Let's get face-to-face with you. But what I'd suggest as well, that you give us as much information in preparation for that appointment so we can come back to you in that appointment and actually work on a solution, as opposed to purely doing fact-finding in it. Yes, we might need to clarify some things in that or during that process, which is important. The next factor to make your loan go faster is quick response. Where you expect absolute quick response time by the mortgage brokers, and as I do expect from all of my team. At the same time though, to meet the mortgage brokers' deadlines as well. So if they say, well, thank you for supplying all your documents, I appreciate it, but the bank's asked for one more pay slip. And our brokers will always give you a time frame. I need that really by 3 o'clock today. Why? Otherwise it's going to wait till tomorrow and the loan won't be assessed until tomorrow. Ultimately it's getting a day behind because of one missing document, and which then you hear the echo of, well, can I just provide that later? No, they won't look at anything until everything is provided. These are really important. The other aspect as well, if there's two people on the loan, so let's say there's Mr. Client and Mrs. Client, if you want this process to go fast, we need to meet with and we need to talk to both of you. Why? It's both of your loan. A loan can't be written or a loan can't be assessed. We can't even do the research without having permission from both people. We want to make sure that there's no differences of opinions or ideas of what you'd actually like or what your needs are. We actually look at both your needs before we proceed. So one thing that can really prevent this moving forward is one person saying, yep, just meet with me because I'm available right now. Meet with them, but then we can get a basic idea until we actually meet with both people and get them both to agree, because we actually have to see things from the side of, well, do we actually have both people's permission to talk about this, or do we only have one of them? And that's exactly how the banks will look at this as well. So we need both people there, particularly, and I'll use the example which I hear all the time, you're wanting cash out for renovations. Do you have different opinions of what sort of bathroom you're wanting having to have done? One person's got and there's a $5,000 discrepancy with what you both want to do. Or the living expenses. We actually look at the living expenses not per household here, we'll look at them per borrower. We'll look at what you're earning and what you're spending, and therefore having a look at what they are. And it's a real awareness piece for you both. So these things can be crucial to helping you get your loan faster by us having more accurate information and be able to act on these things quicker. Now, if you'd like your home loan approved faster than anyone else, please give me, Jeremy Reynolds, a call from Alpha Finance Solutions on 1300 541 777, so we can take all the hard work out of it for you and make it a seamless process. Thank you very much for your time.